What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Combat Corner, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. I am your host, Rudy Rodriguez. Show might hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Do appreciate y'all continued support of the show. I want to do a new video on this Bryce Henry-Julian Lane fight we had on Thursday night at the Hard Rock. And I rewatched this fight. So I said initially that I thought Lane was potentially ahead in that fight. And I rewatched it, and I will sit here and tell you that I flipped my opinion on it. And I don't typically do this. But when I watched it there, I really thought Lane was doing more in clinch work, and I thought that Lane had won rounds 2 and 3. Now I say that I believe that he still won round 3. But when I rewatched this fight, because I was told by a few people that I was crazy, that I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about, that I had Julian Lane's nuts in my mouth, which definitely ain't true. But I did rewatch the fight, and I will say that I was wrong. I have shifted my opinion on it, and I do believe that Henry was ahead 2 rounds to 1 in this fight. Now, when you're at the fight as press, just so people understand, we are sitting probably 150 yards away from the ring. Like, we're not next to the ring. So if someone has ringside seats, they got a better view than we do. And the TVs on top of that are not situated well for us. It's something that I have voiced before, that I think that you have media there, you want media there. We should have better seating closer to the ring so that we can actually get a real feel of what's going on in that ring. Because I can tell you, my sons were sitting a lot closer to the ring than I was, and they both thought Henry was winning the fight. And again, I'm sitting a lot further away. I can't see the strikes the same way. And when I rewatched it tonight, I did flip on that Henry round 2, and I thought Henry won round 2. So I had him up 2-1. That said, it was still a close fight, and I thought it was a pretty good fight. I would have loved to have seen it continue to go on. I thought what Julian Lane did in that 4th round was pathetic. And I think he's completely full of shit in his response that he gave, because I asked the question, and he gave a response that he had blood in his eyes, and that he went for and that he was looking to hold him. That's not what the video shows. The video shows him going for a double leg takedown and then looking like he's about to punch him on the ground. And then whole bunch of excuses when they're side by side in the ring and they're talking to each other. You got the hot mic catching some of the stuff. Now, there are people that might think that Julian Lane should be thrown out of the BKFC. I'm not one of those people. I am not one of those people. I do not believe he should be thrown out of the BKFC for doing something dumb. I think Julian Lane's a good fighter who has a place in the BKFC and should fight again in the BKFC. Heck, I wouldn't mind him fighting a rematch with Bryce Henry. I don't think it'll ever happen, but I wouldn't mind seeing it happen again. But, at the end of the day, people do dumb shit, and that was something really dumb on Julian Lane's part. Maybe he was looking for an out, maybe not. I know what he said. I don't believe it flat out. Tell me or my lying eyes, because I saw a guy duck down, head down, grab legs, flip, boom, and then go to do that, which is straight up MMA stuff. So it was the right decision for a disqualification, which I did say was correct. I thought the disqualification was the right decision. But the rewatching the fight, I do still think that Bryce Henry should have fought more behind his jab. I thought he allowed Julian Lane to grapple a lot. by coming in close where I thought he could have just basically circled him the entire fight, jabbing him to death. He could have pieced him up with that jab, just 1-2ing him the entire fight, I thought, and fought at distance. But, sometimes guys want to prove something to everybody, and it might not be in their best interest to do that. That said, again, I'll run it back and say that I had Henry had 2-1 after rewatching the fight. Now, what's next for Bryce Henry? I missed the inside the cage interview because we got to run down to the press room. And I'm being honest, I didn't even hear what he said. I didn't even hear that he mentioned some names. He mentioned just rewatched it and I forgot. I know he mentioned Mundell. He mentioned Perry. He mentioned he'd even fight Lorenzo Hunt if no one will fight him. Fact is, he's a very, very. He did call out Austin Trout. This is my message. This is my personal message. If you want to fight these guys, any of these guys, you have to dog them. I mean, you've got to go Rocky 5 and Bill Duke, and when he's whatever his name was from Rocky 5 says to Tommy Gunn, you've got to dog him. You've got to call him out. You've got to do all of that. Because the only way Bryce Henry, who is a stylistic nightmare at 155, at 165, and even at 175, the only way he will get one of these guys in the ring is that he has to absolutely embarrass them. He has to verbally abuse them. Because right now, I don't know what fight is next for him. I put up a post earlier today on Instagram, and I'm going to bring it up for y'all. And I said this: who is next for Bryce Henry? Because I do think it's important that he gets back into the ring. I don't think this is a time where he should be waiting around for months. Like, we're in June. He didn't have a scratch on him last night other than a lump on the back of his head from the punches to the back of the head that Julian Lane landed on the back of his head. Now, there are some people that think that those punches are cheating or illegal. And yes, they might very well be illegal, but it's a fight. And I expect fighters to do whatever they got to do to win a fight, even if it's do some shit that's against the rules. It happens in MMA, fence grabs, short, grabbing the shorts, grabbing whatever, fingering in the gloves in MMA, and rabbit punches in boxing, and all those types of things. They're illegal, and people still do them pretty much every fight. Now, I counted up 3 that Lane landed square to the back of his head. And I will sit here and I'll tell you that I expect nothing less. I expected that in this fight. I expect that in every fight. But I asked this question: who is next for Bryce Henry? And he replied, anybody can get it. Bryce, that is not the answer. The answer is you got to call somebody out hardcore. The way I would do it is you got to dog out his mama, his sister, his auntie, his dog, his kids. Because that's about the only, I mean, you can dog these guys out on an individual level, but you got to say something that triggers them. Find out what their trigger spot is and hit it hard. Because, quite frankly, we're not going to see him fight for the belt for a minute. We're going to get a rematch we're going to get a fight with Dustin Peg and Rico Franco for the 165 belt. And even though, heck, if Dustin Peg's not available, I would sit here and say, get this man in there with Rico Franco in September. Rico Franco didn't have a scratch on him either. He won his fight rather quickly over Connor Tierney. So I don't see why not. But then again, they're going to have that fight. And then what else is there? He calls out Trout. Now Trout has a fight with Bonner. Trotter he left the welterweight division after Carlos Trinidad Snake hit him one time and put him on the canvas. He won the fight, but he won that fight on roller skates. He boxed as he should, but it doesn't make for excitement. It makes for boring. And he moves down to 55. And he's fighting Bonner. I don't even know when that fight is again. That fight's in what, July, up in Philly. Would love to go to that fight if possible. But that is I mean, obviously, a fight with Trout would be interesting, but it would have to be at 65. I don't think Henry will fight at 55. Now, what was the other one? There was somebody else. I don't know. It was nothing I mentioned, but these are the guys that I put on the screen, and I said these are the options, in my opinion. Who's next? And the first one I put on there was Carlos Trinidad Snake. He makes sense because he fights at 65. He is 7-1. He's a contender in the division. And the winner, if he beats Carlos Trinidad Snake, that's a big win on his belt. And, there's, I mean, I don't know, how tall is Trinidad Snake? I think he's like 6'1", 6'2", something like that. How tall is he? He is 6 foot. I thought he was taller than that. So stand correct. He's 6 foot, but he does have a 78-inch reach. So he has a pretty good reach himself. And he's a very good fighter. His only loss was to Austin Trout. And I mean, quite frankly, if Trinidad Snake had fought round 6 like it mattered to him, he would have won that fight. Instead, he kind of didn't, kind of coasted, and it made no sense. So, he has some good wins under his belt. So that, to me, probably makes the most sense. Or we can go a different direction. He can call out the champion at middleweight, Dave Mundell. He called him out in the ring, kind of, sort of. Again, I will give you a WWE crash course on promo work and calling out dudes, because I don't know where the hell Dave Mundell's gone to since he fought Lorenzo Hunt. Haven't seen him on social media. Haven't heard a peep from the guy. Don't know what's popping off with Dave Mundell. Haven't heard a fight made for him. And I do believe that Bryce Henry can jump up to 175 and fight him, and would happily fight him. But you got to dog him. You got to call him out. We got to make some fights. And then the final option would be a rematch of Julian Lane. And I don't think that one's going to happen, but it is an option. Again, he says anybody can get it. And here are some of the replies. Someone said Kai Stewart. He says, I can't make 145. Here says, fight Redneck Mundell. Oh, look at it. Alberto Blas is saying, fight me. That's a joke. 154. Let's get it, champ. Someone says, you're a nobody. Oh, this guy says, chill, man. Jesus Christ. Someone says, on the win, but you have to pump the brakes if you think Redneck Mundell is sweet. He says, I appreciate it. Never said he was sweet. I just know I'm better, respectfully. So I just, like, let's see what's up. He said Austin Trout. I didn't include Austin Trout because he had a scheduled fight, like I mentioned. Here got Trinidad will be a good fight. The champion should be next. Title, they're all going to get worked. He says, this one says Mundell. And that's what it says. The question is, who will take the fight? And that's why you have to. Someone says Baboon Palomino. I'm going to be real. I don't have a ton of interest in that one. I don't find that to be a beneficial fight for Henry. He's 20 years younger than the dude, than Baboon. He's way too tall. I love Baboon, but I don't think that ends well for him. It's there's just the style is just too much. Anything else down here? So those are my thoughts. I would love to see him fight again sooner than later. I'd love to see him back in the ring in September. He didn't have a scratch like he said. So let's get him back in there sooner rather than later. I don't think we should have to wait another 6 months to see this guy fight again. Because at the end of the day, this guy should be in line for a title shot. I know he's not getting one immediately. But I will tell you this. Some of the matchmaking is frustrating for me as a fan. I am also a media member, but some of the matchmaking as a fan is frustrating. There are fights that I want to see that we're not getting. There are fights that are being made to me that don't make sense. And there are fights that are being promoted that never happen. And it's frustrating because you're building up this emotion for people to see certain fights and they just don't ever happen. And I don't know that they're ever planned on happening either. So just an opinion, but nonetheless, like I said, I I I, I got Henry having been up 2-1 in that fight. Who knows what have happened in the last 3.5 minutes of that fight? We were 30 seconds into round 4, and that was absolutely a dirty foul by Julian Lane with a double leg takedown. You can't do that. Like enough. You've been in bare knuckle for way too long to sit here and say, "Oh, I had blood in my eyes and I was trying to hold him." If you're trying to hold him, you just go hold him. You don't drop levels, put your head down, scoop, grab, scoop, and dump. Like you don't do that. And he was rightfully disqualified. But again, what's next for Bryce Henry? Y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. Who do you think should be next? And Bryce, I'm here for you for a WWE promo camp. Because I mean, for Christ's sakes, Conor McGregor is part owner of this organization. That man is the king of the promo. He can give you a true crash course on that promo work where you call people out. Your wife is in my DMs. I mean, come on, let's go, man. So that's all I got. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. This is Combat Corner, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. Come on now.